How's everybody? So yeah, I'm back with another one. Trying to get a few in to post over time since work and I are challenging each other. So, got a big download again that we'll get into, but I want to pull an affirmator and I want to pull some oracles. For those of you that don't know me, oracles was really kind of how I started my journey 30 years ago. And I had bought a deck of fairy cards and angel cards. And to this day, they're still two of my favorite decks. And my son, when I was living with him, were the only two decks he would trust when he would come to me with something. Mom, I want the old decks. I don't want the new stuff. So I find it very encouraging. And it just kind of goes to show how people's beliefs and things, and when they question themselves, and little fuzzies floating around. But gotta trust in yourself. Personal growth. As I move toward greater consciousness, I feel old thoughts and habits fall away. Like training wheels on a bike. They help me get to where I am. But now that I can ride, I don't need those slow and crummy wheels, except when I'm making bike analogies. So, yes. Very cool. All right, let's get some moonology, because we've gotten through that eclipse and the new moon. Did you write down your manifestations? I gotta finish mine. I usually try to do them right on the new moon or the couple of days after for them to be most effective. But whatever. It's not a big deal. Actually, years ago, 15 years ago when I was in jail. Yeah, that was fun. I had taught most of the ladies in my dorm, and I was actually in a nice dorm. It wasn't overcrowded. There was only 16 of us, and every age group, a lot of it, they were in for drugs and alcohol, and it was like, and theft, but it was like a revolving door. And I was actually in also with a friend of mine, sister, who I didn't know at the time that they were sisters. But it's amazing how God puts you in places with people. But I taught many of them while there to do the 10 wishes manifestations on the new moon. And, you know, to keep doing them. And it's funny is because I have one girl that I know still does them to this day. And it's a very cool thing, because she's like, it really does work. And I'm like, the moon path, the moon phases should be a guidance for you. So let's see what we get. Surrender to the divine. A time to give rather than take. Don't let your past hold you back, because a lot of you are moving into your North Node. You're very close to achieving a goal. Get one more. Work through your fears. So, a lot of you, I think, are teetering. You're sitting. Teeter-totter. I want to do it, but I can't. And I do want to do it, but I can't. And I did, and all the can'ts. Stop at the can'ts. But how do you have a new romantic cycle coming too? It's on the bottom. And then I've got Spirit of the Animal Oracle. I'll let Baron read. She's another one of my favorites for oracles. Her and Rebecca Campbell. Probably my two. What was the other one? My two oldest ones. She, though, doesn't do tarot anymore. Doreen Virtue. She found Jesus and decided that it was evil. So she got into one of those little cults that have her mind. Because it's not. So many things that were ripped out of the Bible or changed verbatim in the Bible. It's only supposed to be a guide. It's not supposed to be, you know, you got to go within to know what works for you, okay? All right, let's see what we got. Think on your feet on the bottom. Body spirit. Let's get a few of these. Tend to the small things. You have some things out there that you haven't been taking care of. Time to let go. Surrender now. That's twice, you guys. Surrender. What does that mean? Give it to God. Go do something else. Don't worry about it. You'll have resolution. The miracles are endless. It's right after surrender. Once you surrender, the miracles start to come in. Last one. Trust in divine detours. It's never quite what you think it to be. Ever. Why? Because what we don't understand is the detours are because we weren't going in the right direction. And the detour means you need to go this way. And you'll feel it. I say this all the time. If you feel it in your gut that something isn't right, don't do it. Do you know how many times I've gotten in the car and I was supposed to be going somewhere and I didn't go? So, this is the message I heard today. Confidence versus arrogance. I actually got it when I went to bed. And I'm like, just remind me in the morning so that I remember. Then I forgot about it all day. And then I wrote this just right before I got on camera. So this is what was downloaded. And the definitions that are used here are not the definitions from a dictionary. They're the definitions that I was given. So there's a difference here. Arrogance is having to be right in situations and thinking you know more than others, not willing to learn. Confidence is knowing you have done the work, learning, exploring, and a willingness to be taught, not wanting to be right, but understand. Where are you in the mix? Can you take in information and be taught? Do you have a willingness to want more and understand others? Do you lead from your heart? Can you feel the difference in energies? Do you know what a difference you make when you try to understand? That's huge. Let's move with a confidence that makes others wonder what you did. Share that knowledge and help others to know they can get there too. The vibration is rising and not everyone will be coming. Help those who need directions, but let them do it on their own timeline. Patience has been your biggest challenge and reward. We are proud of you and the balance is real. You are protected from both sides. Respect is earned, not granted without the work. Respect is earned and not granted without the work. Keep loving yourself most and sharing your knowledge to those who request it. Life is beautiful. Share. I honestly am amazed at some of the messages that I get because I've always been tapped in. But to the degree of being tapped in has changed tremendously in the last 5 years of my life. And I'd go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and question, why are we even here? What are we doing? I don't understand. And then for a long time, it was, why me? Why? Why have I been handed such a shit life? And the challenges that... But apparently it's something I signed up for and have discovered I'm not only here on a mission, I'm here on a double mission. To do better for myself this time around, awaken earlier, and to be that light to others so that they can awaken too. And understand that it's all about loving you and making sure you're loving you first. Yes, it sounds selfish. Yes, it sounds arrogant. Yes, it sounds all those things. But, that line of, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't. There's just, I've tried. And you know what ends up happening? I end up in jail. I end up in the hospital, or I end up in a relationship that drains the out of me. That's what happens. I don't do that anymore. And for those of you who have helped me on my journey, because you basically were the karma and the devil in disguise and the wolf in sheep's clothing, I thank you. Because I wouldn't be who I am today without all of that. Will I let you back in my life? Absolutely not. That's not how this works. But I send you the love to hopefully someday you find yourself and understand the things that you did weren't right. Take accountability for yourself. Take accountability for the things that you did wrong. But also know that there are obstacles and there are things put in your way purposely, that's even a word, to get you to understand that the growth comes from you, within, to know none of us are perfect. We all are human and make mistakes, but you need to forgive yourself and move on. The mistakes are there to get you to realize, but don't keep doing them. Continually making the same mistake over is insanity. Becomes a lifestyle. And then your demise. I've done it many times. Yeah, I'm one of those that needs a over the head, but I no longer. And I don't let the opinions of others destroy what I've built for myself, because my little empire, no one's going to take it down. And for those of you also who have said no to me, thank you. That's even helped even more, because you know what I've learned? I can do it all on my own, all by myself. And I don't need anybody but me. And until I find an individual in my world that's at the same vibrational level, I do just fine. So, for those of you out there who struggle to find your balance, my email is in every platform. Feel free to reach out. I usually do a freebie to begin with and then get you on the right course, and hopefully we get you going where you need to go. I come from a destructive childhood, a destructive 20s, 30s, and even into my 40s. My 50s is where I really started to embrace who I was. And now as I get closer to 60, which is just a couple years, I am happier than I've ever been. Know this, you can have it all. You just gotta want it bad enough. And you gotta be willing to hermit yourself for a while. Figure out who you really are. Go through those hard crying and asking and feeling like you're gonna die times to get you to here. We're all a work in progress. It's never perfect, and it's cyclical. It isn't levels, really. It's always, it's going to pull you back and then spring you forward and then pull you back and spring you forward. But every time you get pulled back, you know more. Because you've been through it. And you know what not to do. And you know who not to associate with. Because you feel the synchronicity of, oh, I've done this before. I'm not going to do it again. That's where I got good at it. And I won't be pulled back in. Why? Jail, hospital, and almost dying, is... And it wasn't, the drugs or alcohol. When I was in the hospital, I had nothing in my system. It was the depressive state that you get when you let others take advantage of you and you give and you give and you give and you give and you give, and you're so mentally, physically, and emotionally drained, you don't even know what your name is. That's when I decided. And that was 15 years ago. It's taken me this long. But what did I do? I cut out a shit ton of people that only wanted things from me and weren't willing to do the same things for me that I was willing to do for them. That's not equal give and take. And it unfortunately can be people that you're close to, family members, children, because there's an expectation. Yes, you are on this earth to protect your children and make sure that they have everything they need. But once they become adults, it's your job just to let them go figure it out too. You know, the parents that coddle and don't let their children make mistakes for themselves, you're not doing your children a service. You're not preparing them for the things that are out there. I had rose-colored glasses on for a lot of years, and I still do to some extent. But I can see through the BS, and I feel your crap before you even show up, because it always comes ahead of you. So one warning: don't mess with the light worker that's done the work on themselves, because they know even before you arrive what's going on. And the army that protects them is there for a reason. It is their reward for the patience of working on themselves and then going out to help others and not expecting anything out of it except the joy of seeing you grow. I love you all so much. Have yourself a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon.